So now,
Texas Open Meeting Sec.
Did we already pick up the
call this meeting to order, please. Mr. Colon, well, she can wait. Then we give you numbers and all. Know that we want you to remember two individuals in your prayers. One is J.J. Hinojosa. For health reasons, his career in teaching at Pace High School is terminated. And also we have an angel at Russell Elementary. So keep those two people in mind in your prayers. Thank you, Joe.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Joe.
I can't find my this guy.
Escribamos. And the roll call just for the record that Mr. Cortez is not present today. I'm probably going to be late. Item number 5, Pat.
Item 5, recommend approving the agenda of the regular board meeting of April 20, 2010 with any corrections or deletions.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. We only have one report under Superintendent's Report, Conference Presentation. Item number 8, page 73 will be replaced with page 73A.
I move to approve. Second.
We move to approve the agenda, and second by Mr. Sayed. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those against say nay. Pat.
Item 6, recommend approving the minutes of the regular board meeting of March 2nd, 2010 with any corrections.
Move to approve. I'll second.
Been moved to approve and second. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those abstaining?
I'm sorry. I'll abstain. I'm sorry.
Yes, okay.
He moved to approve, so you need to get somebody else to approve.
I move to approve.
I second.
Second, and I abstain.
Approve and second.
Okay.
All right. And you abstained, Doctor?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Pat?
Recommend approving the minutes of the rescheduled regular board meeting of March
we have to
23rd.
take a vote after that.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against say nay. Man, we're in a hurry tonight.
I don't know why, but yeah. We're in 100 miles an hour.
One. Second, I motion that he's not going to vote, and us not voting for it. Well, Doctor, it's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday, yes, sir.
Pat?
Recommend approving the minutes of the rescheduled regular board meeting of March 23rd, 2010 with any corrections.
Move to approve. I'll
It's been moved
second.
to approve, and second, by Dr. Scott. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay.
Recommend
Passes.
approving the consent agenda. The board has agreed to discuss the following items. All of the items that are not called out will be approved by consent.
Our colleagues has agreed to discuss number 9, 10, 11, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 29, 30, 31, and 32.
Mr. Aguilar, if I may, I believe we circled some conference items. Those usually are not subject to consent. So all of the conference items will be heard, I anticipate. Am I correct?
Yes, sorry. It's my mistake. I should have noticed that when they gave me those numbers. Okay. Any other number, item? If not, do I have a motion?
Wait, hold on a second. I think,
27.
I think since 30 is circled, I think C, A 28 to 30 needs to be circled as well.
Sorry? Not, item number 30?
I think A 28 through 30
Uh-huh.
needs to be circled as well, and so does B 32.
I have 28, 29, 30, 31,
32.
32.
Okay, underneath that, on the approval, A 28 through 30 and B 32.
Uh-huh.
If we don't circle them right now, they'll be approved by
Okay.
consent, and so I think they need to be circled.
28, 29, 30.
If we-
Do you know what I'm saying? A 28 to 30, after the letter
You
C?
don't have to be, but you may.
Yeah,
After the letter, I'm just on abundance of caution.
okay. So we need to circle them.
Yes, sir.
Well, I did circle them.
No, at the bottom.
Oh, for the yeah,
For the action item.
action item. I see what
Right,
you mean.
right.
Okay,
Because technically, you're approving the action item,
all right,
as it's stated there if they're not circled.
all right,
Move on.
move on.
Move on.
Okay, anything else?
Yes, Mr. Aguilar. I just like to make sure that we take our time and do things correctly and not rush it. If anybody doesn't want to be here, they should feel free to go and not rush you. I just like to say that.
Yes, I agree with you, and also I want to remind the board members to be here before 5:30, so we can circle these numbers and not having to start 5-10 minutes after 5:30, so we can all work together. Not only rushing, but also be here on time, so that you can share those numbers with me. Thank you. Do I have a motion
Motion.
to accept the, as read?
I'll second the
It
motion.
being second, those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? Pat?
Superintendent's report, A, conference presentations. 1, recognition of Drumline State qualifiers.
Mr. Springton.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board, and members of our audience, parents, and administrators, staff members. Ms. Monfils, if you'll take over, please, with the Drumline State qualifiers.
Mr. President, Mr. Springsteen, members of the board, as always, we are extremely proud of all of our students' accomplishments, and we have many wonderful groups here this evening to recognize. We'll start out with Drumline, Dr. Rendon.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Springsteen, Mr. Aguilar, and members of the board. On Saturday, March the 27th, the Lopez Pace and Rivera Indoor Percussion Ensembles and the Lopez and Porter Color Guards competed at the 2010 Texas Educational Color Guard Association State Championships. The Hannah Drumline competed on the same day at the Texas Color Guard Association's State Championship. Tonight, it is my privilege to present to you 4 drum lines from BISD, which ranked in the top 10 in the state of Texas. And best of all, we have 2 of our Brownsville High School color guards, which earned the title of state champion in their division, which we would like to present as well. At this time, I ask Mr. Paul Flinchbaugh, Supervisor of Instrumental Music, to please present the drum lines.
Good evening, Mr. Springsteen, Mr. Aguilar, BISD board members. I'm proud to announce that for the first time in the BISD history, we did have 4 drum lines that not only competed but also ranked in state drumline competition. No other city in the state can boast of students and programs which produce this level of results. On behalf of the students, the directors, and the parents of the BISD band programs, I would like to express our appreciation to the BISD school board, campus, and main office administration for giving these students the resources and support which make this type of state-level achievement possible. First this evening, I'd like to present the members of the Pace High School drumline. The students you are about to meet ranked 9th in state finals. The director for the Pace Indoor Percussion Ensemble is Mr. Kevin Feltzer, and Pace High School principal is Ms. Sylvia Centeno. The members of the Pace Indoor Percussion Ensemble are Mr. Kevin Vasquez, Crispin Salazar, Sean Longoria, Robert Landino, Stephen Gutierrez, Haley Morales, Alexandra Cortez, Alan Huertato, Joey Bazaldua, James Crichel, Joe Carlos Izquierdo, Victoria Garcia, Jake Lipscomb, Ivana Ray, Luis Segura, Danielle Garcia, Jesus Arias, Gerardo Salinas, and Dania Hernandez, and Carlos Oviedo. Ladies and gentlemen, the Pace High School Drumline.
Congratulations, brother. Congratulations. Good job, young man. Congratulations. Good job.
Way to go. Congratulations. I'm proud of you guys. Congratulations.
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 Thank you for your work.
Can I take a picture with him?
Good job.
Congratulations. Can I take a picture with him?
Good job.
Is it all going outside?
Good job. Congratulations. Good job. Congratulations to y'all. Congratulations.
Where's the back?
Where's the back?
Can we take a picture? Change the word one more to a yes.
Congratulations. Thank you, Pace.
Next, I would like to present the members of the Rivera High School Drumline. The students you're about to meet ranked 4th in the state of Texas. Director of the Rivera Indoor Percussion Ensemble is Mr. Armando Medrano. Rivera High School Principal is Mr. Tim Snyder. The members of the Rivera Indoor Percussion Ensemble are Raul Carzales, Raul Contreras, Lucio Cruz, Magali Sanchez, Armando Blanco, Kevin Guerra, Eduardo Lerma, Sam Longoria, Luis Pettis, Dominique Solis, Jose Gomez, Rene Hernandez, Fabian Trevino, Alberto Valdez, Christian Torres, and Rolando Ferguson. Ladies and gentlemen, the Rivera High School Drumline, 4th in the state.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Love those shirts. Congratulations.
Good job, guys. Congratulations.
You did great. I'm so proud of you guys. Congratulations. Way to go, sir. Way to go. So proud of you. Good job, guys. Really proud of you. Good job. Good job, guys.
Awesome. Congratulations. You guys are terrific. We love your shirts. So cool. Very nice. Good job, guys. Thank you. Proud of you. Congratulations. Good luck.
Back towards us.
Don't rush them.
I was in the back, all the way to the back, to this part. Otherwise, we don't come out. We're too short. Be honest, we're midgets. Even then,
I'm just going to stick to my screen.
y'all eat your Wheaties and talk. Hold on, please. Can you stand on that side of him? You're not coming out at all. Right there. There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you. You can start to-
Next, it's my pleasure to introduce to you the Lopez High School Marching Percussion Ensemble. And I'm very proud to announce to you that the Lopez High School Marching Percussion Ensemble ranks second in the state of Texas, in the entire state. The director for the Lopez percussion section is Mr. Javier Bermudez, and the principal at Lopez is Ms. Dawn Hall. The Lopez Marching Percussion Ensemble members are Ray Cavazos, Daniel Martinez, Ricardo Martinez, Mario Avalado, Rene Lopez, Jose Alex Guerrero, Fernando Ramirez, Nazario Muro, Christian Castillo, Timna Gonzalez, Pablo Galvan, Felipe Sarmiento, Diana Doria, Ruth Ortiz, Laura Guzman, Ignacio Izaguirre, Jose Ortiz, Edgar Soto, Isaac Castillo, Valeria Silva, Angel Hernandez, Ivan Rocha, and Robert Delgado. Ladies and gentlemen, second in the entire state of Texas.
Congratulations, good job. Guys look real sharp. Congratulations, sir. Congratulations to you. Congratulations. Congratulations. Congratulations.
All the way to the back, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you. So they look so good.
Tall in front, less tall in the, tall in back, and less tall in the front. So move all the way to the back, all the way to this, guys. All the way. And the taller ones in the back and the not so tall ones in the front. You can stand on your toes, it's allowed. The ones in the back, have to. Okay?
Thank you.
And finally, it's my pleasure to present to you the Hannah Indoor Percussion Ensemble. In drumline competition, there are several circuits and several categories and levels of competition that they can enter. The Hannah drumline ranks second in the state at the TCGA state finals in San Marcos, Texas. The director of the Hannah drumline is Sam Rodriguez, principal is Ms. Terry Alacon, and the members of the Hannah Indoor drumline are Jose Rudy Gomez, Enrique Macias, Hugo Gonzalez, Javier Flores, Jaime Sarina, Lea Ramirez, Felipe de la Fuente, Kevin Bea, Christian Garcia, Bradley Avenilla, Lauren Liao, Chris Garza, Samantha Estrada, Kevin Salas, Emmanuel Velario, Octavio Ocampo, Nicholas Zuniga, Alex Gracia, Luis Ibarra, David Leja, Weldon Briggs, Harold Averil, Daniel McKinnon, Daniel Bolanos, Ozak Michi, Ralph Guzman, Carissa Cantu, Gina Garcia, Victoria Rodriguez, Kyle Wolstas, and Dominique Garcia. Ladies and gentlemen, second in the state of Texas, the Hannah drumline.
Girls, we need to have congratulations. Congratulations. I'd like to see women there. Congratulations. 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 Good job. Could it be that principal? Congratulations. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Good job. Way to go, Mr. Rod. Way to go. Congratulations, sir. Good job. Congratulations. Congratulations. Good job. Congratulations, sir. Good job. You move all the way to the back, gentlemen, because if you stand over there, nobody will know where you just.
All in the back, short in the front.
All the way to the back.
Tall in the back, short in the front.
Everybody gather in.
Everybody, move all the way back. We got that other group that has to squeeze in. And some of you might have to stand on your toes, even if you're in the back. Because we do.
We're way up here.
We still have to stand on our toes. This might work, this might not.
Okay. Good slide.
The Hannah High School drum line. And at this point, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, the color guards, and I'd like to ask Mr. Tim Jones, Color Guard and Theater Arts Advisor for BISD. Oh, excuse me.
Something about wings, something. Minnesota's winning Kentucky.
Item 2, recognition of color guard state qualifiers.
At this point, I'd like to ask Mr. Tim Jones, Color Guard and Theater Arts Advisor, to present the color guard groups.
Good evening, Mr. Springston, Mr. Aguilar, and BISD board members. I'm proud to announce that for the first time in BISD history, we have had 2 high school color guards which have not only completed but ranked first in state color guard competition. No other city in the state can boast of students and programs which produce this level of results. On behalf of the students, directors, and parents of the BISD band program, I would like to express our appreciation to the BISD school board, campus, and office administration for giving these students the resources and support which makes this type of state-level achievement possible. First, this evening, I would like to present the members of the Porter High School Color Guard. The students you are about to meet ranked first in the state in novice division. This was also the first time the Porter Color Guard competed at this level. Director for the Porter Color Guard is Brandon Villarreal. The band director is Juan Sosa, and the Porter High School principal is Doris Acedo. The members of the Porter Indoor Color Guard are Maria Esther Bazan, Jessica Bolado, Lucero Escalera, Megan Galvan, Ruby Hernandez, Yasmin Hernandez, Sandra Izaguirre, Emily Martinez, Eric Martinez, Maritza Monguea, Wendy Obregan, Melissa Rodriguez, Ruby Ruiz, Mariela Tovar, and Sarai Teo. The Porter High School Color Guard.
Congratulations, Mom. Good job. Good job. Congratulations. Huh? That looks so pretty. Good job. Good job. Nice medal. Congratulations. Good job.
Congratulations, sir. Mr. Sosa.
I danced the whole way. I taught him everything. Congratulations. Congratulations. Good job. Congratulations. Great job. Proud of you. Congratulations. Congratulations, sir. Thank you. Move all the way to the back, up to here. Yes, otherwise. We look too separated.
Road question.
The Porter High School color guard. Finally, I will introduce the members of the Lopez High School Color Guard. I am proud to announce that the Lopez High School Color Guard ranked first in the entire state of the Scholastic 3 Division. Director of the Lopez Color Guard is Mr. David Ramirez, assisted by Andy Larios. The principal at Lopez is Miss Dawn Hall. The members of the Lopez High School Color Guard are Kimberly De Leon, Ashley Carr, Jessica Barrientos, Cassandra Galvan, Ruby Perez, Natalia Fuentes, Stephanie Gandara, Destiny Garcia, Crystal Pena, Georgina Ramos, Alexis Werbisky, Greshley Martinez, and Kayla De Leon, the members of the Lopez High School Color Guard.
You're pretty. Good job, Mama. Thank you. Congratulations, babe. Congratulations, Mama. Good job, Mama. Congratulations. Congratulations, Mama. Congratulations. Good job. So nice. Congratulations. Congratulations, Mama. Congratulations, baby. Congratulations. Congratulations, Mama. Good job, guys. Good job. Good job. Congratulations. Congratulations. So proud. Congratulations. Good job. Congratulations. Thank you, sir. Congratulations. Good job. Thank you, sir.
The Lopez Color Guard.
Item 3, recognition of State Federal Junior Duck Stamp Art Contest winners.
Good evening, Mr. Springston, Mr. Aguilar, members of the board. BISD students from Lucio Middle School and Villanueva Elementary Schools have been very busy exploring and expressing their creativity in various state and national art contests during the spring semester of 2010. Today's recognition before this assembly and community assures our young artists that their efforts and accomplishments continue to keep the arts very well alive in BISD. I will now ask our new visual arts supervisor, Mr. Teodoro Estrada, to make the presentations.
Good evening, Mr. Springston, Mr. Aguilar, BISD board members. It is my pleasure to announce winners for the Federal Junior Dog Stamp Art Contest. The Federal Junior Dog Stamp Conservation and Design Program is a dynamic arts curriculum that teaches wetlands and waterfowl conservation to students kindergarten through high school. The program incorporates scientific and wildlife management principles into a visual arts curriculum with over 28,000 participants statewide completing a design as their visual term paper. On March 24th, 2010, the State Federal Junior Dog Step Art Contest held in Brazoria, Texas, selected the following young artists from Lucio Middle School and awarded them in these categories. Division 2, 4 through 6th grade, Miguel Cisneros, a 6th grader, received 3rd place. Honorable mentions were awarded to Kimberly Latigo, also a 6th grader. Division 3, 7th through 9th grade, Dayanira Macias, 8th grader, received second place. Our teachers are Ms. Rosalinda Gaona and Mr. Francisco Garza, principal Ms. Rose Longoria. Congratulations to all.
Congratulations, ma'am. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I don't know.
One of those?
Get your ducks in a row, guys.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Smile.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Item 4, recognition of national winner for the Heinz Ketchup Creativity Art Contest.
Go ahead.
It is again my pleasure to announce winners for the Heinz Ketchup Creativity Contest for 2010. Through the Heinz Ketchup Creativity Contest, students from schools across the U.S. in grades K through 12 are invited to show their creativity for a chance to have their artwork appear on millions of Heinz ketchup packets. After the 12 finalists are selected, the public at large votes via the internet to select the winner in each division. We would like to recognize Albert Munoz, 8th grader from Lucio Middle School, for being selected as the 8th grade division national winner of the Heinz Ketchup Creativity Art Contest 2010. Albert will receive a $1,000 cash prize, and Lucio Middle School will also receive $1,000 for purchase of art supplies, $1,000 worth of Heinz ketchup packets, and a poster of Albert's artwork. Art teacher is Mr. Francisco Garza, principal Ms. Rose Longoria.
Congratulations, you
Yes. One of the others at Brownsville got it.
Congratulations, son.
His
Good
daughter.
job, mijo. Good
And
job,
now his
sir.
student.
Congratulations.
This is your student. First your daughter, now your student.
Thank you, sir. 3 years in a row?
Next year.
Can I see the picture? Over here. Can I see the poster?
Hunts
Yeah,
is going to give him the Heinz.
Yeah. I think they might hire you as our office director for Heinz.
It wasn't the 30th and you were moved to the 23rd.
That's cool.
That is cool.
Running the red carpet. Walking.
Yeah, he needs to hold that.
He needs to hold that.
Go back up a little bit.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Mr. Aguilar? Thank you, Mr. Garza. Last year it was your daughter, now it's your student. So remember, next year you got to pick someone else. Just keep winning, sir.
Item 5, recognition of Texas Adopt a Beach Art Contest finalists.
Mr. Brinton.
Thank you. Go ahead.
In continuing with our success in visual arts, we would like to recognize several students as finalists in the Texas Adopt a Beach program Children's Art Contest 2010. The following young artists' artworks were selected among the top 40 finalists from 6,000 entries across the state of Texas Adopt a Beach program Children's Art Contest 2010. As finalists, they received a certificate of recognition from the Texas General Land Office, and their artwork will appear in the 2010-2011 art calendar. We would like to recognize artist Heila Munoz from Villanueva Elementary as a finalist. Art teacher is Mr. Maritim Munoz and principal Mr. Jose Martinez. From Lucio Middle School, we would like to recognize artist Cassandra Cordova for her qualifying as a finalist. We would also like to recognize young artist Lily Beth Herrera from Lucio Middle School as the grand prize winner in the Texas Adopt a Beach program art contest for 2010. Lily Beth also received, among other prizes, a certificate of recognition from the Texas General Land Office, and her artwork will appear on the 2010-2011 calendar cover. Our teacher is Mr. Francisco Garza and Principal Rose Longoria. Congratulations to all.
Good job.
I would also like to add that our grand prize winner did receive a 7-day cruise, a Caribbean cruise, and 2 tickets anywhere in the U.S. for her and her parents. Thank you.
How about yourself? Yes, I did.
Yeah, but long as it stays in district, I can't work with it.
Good job, Lily Beth. We're so proud of you. Hi, sir.
Congratulations. Congratulations. You know what? The advertising company's gonna come full hand.
Yes, sir. Thank you again. Thank you.
Come all the way to the back.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. 2, 3, smile.
Thank
job,
you.
folks.
Good job.
We would like to thank you for your continued support of the BISD Fine Arts program.
Congratulations.
It is because of the support that our students have the opportunity to excel at the district, region, state, and national levels. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Item 6, presentation and monthly report from BISD Bond Oversight Committee. Bond Oversight Committee meeting was held on April 1, 2010.
Mr. Springton, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, I know he's here, Mr. Barbosa. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Board President, members of the board. Mr. Strayman, we had our meeting on April the 1st. STEP presented all the remainder projects that are going on in the school. The high school is pretty much, like we had said earlier, pretty much completed. The only thing is that the sports area, the football field, the all the what it's going to take the sports. They're still working on it, and they have hopefully will be completed by May, and that should pretty much conclude what's going on at the new high school. At the parking lot level, the city is always asking for us to beautify it and put some round areas around the parking lot. But the administration went before the A board in the city of Brownsville, and they were asking for a waiver, and the reason was so that the band or the ROTC would be able to practice in case it rains and the practice fields are wet. And they went ahead and my understanding at this point was they went ahead and waived it. We didn't have to do those little small islands around the parking lot, which would be a big benefit for the people to be off the wet ground when they're practicing, which is going to be very good for the school. We didn't have a quorum, so we really couldn't vote on items. There was a lot of discussion going on. As far as the only thing that's really been pending is that second floor situation that's still going on. Administration is still working on it. They probably have about 4 or 5 different scenarios of what is going to be the best. But I think at this point, as our recommendation would be that we hurry up on this situation because the contractor basically has moved out, and it's going to be costly having to bring all those people back to do anything, even though we are at the code level. I mean, everything is in place. But we do recommend and ask that administration move as rapidly as possible to be able to get this question out of the way and get it done. And that pretty much concludes the report that I have for you this evening. If you have any questions that you may have.
I just want to ask the administration how far we are with that second floor project that Mr. Barros is talking about.
Mr. Garza, and I know the architects are here. We have come across like 5 scenarios that we were looking at, and those 5 scenarios have been presented to me, and I'm going to be discussing those with them this week and looking at the different pricing and the options for that second floor as we talked about for safety hazards. So that should be coming up on the next board meeting.
Next board meeting. Okay. Mr. Sayas?
I know it's a lot of hard work to go to those meetings and discuss all the items, and sometimes they're pretty long meetings because there's a lot of information. I just want to thank you for your hard work on behalf of the board. You and the rest of your board members, I want to thank you for your work.
One of the things that I wanted to say was that this has been the first time that we really didn't have a quorum, and it was, I guess, due because of the rain and the situation that had been going on. But I certainly want to congratulate your TV station for being there that evening, even though the power went off, with our good friends PUB situation. So we weren't able to finish the meeting to televise it. But I certainly want to thank them for the portions that were able to notify the public, because I think that's the best way that we have here in the school district. I just want to tell you that back in the dark ages when I was a city commissioner, we started this television station, and for X reasons, the city did not want to pick it up. But I'm very happy to say that BISD picked it up and has done a wonderful job televising and informing the public of things that are going on. It's very well, and it just goes on. And I just wanted to give that their thanks for the jobs that they're doing to provide the service that we're getting from them.
And we also thank you, Mr. Barbosa, like Mr. Sai said, for all the hard work. Be sure you convey that message to your board members, and we really appreciate all the hard work. And talking about the TV station, you know that Dr. Cisneros was the original with Mr. Rosales, and Dr. Cisneros is still here with us in that TV station. Yes, they do an excellent work.
We hired Bill Young. Bill Young was the one that we had hired to be able to start that back, like I said, back in I guess it was the 90s when we tried getting it started. But I'm glad that you all picked it up and have done it because They didn't want to give us a channel for it, but, you know, we've got 2 of them now.
Yes, yes. Ms. Peña.
I also want to thank you, Mr. Barbosa, and make sure you tell all your committee members, thank you for all the time they dedicate, because I know that it's really hard to get together as a group, and I thank them for everything they've done and for keeping children in mind and coming out here and volunteering those hours, so thank you.
Sure, and I certainly relay that message to them because they do a good job. I'm very proud of them because every so often it's for the children, it's for the children, it's for the children, and that's why we're here for. We're for the children of the BISD area. So I certainly want to thank you for the many hours that you all put in. You know, I'm sure your salary, I'll recommend 100% increase on your salary. So, but thank you very much for the efforts that you all are doing.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Item 7, presentation of the Brownsville Independent School District financial report for the period ended February 28, 2010.
Brett.
Thank you, Mr. President. If I have any questions at this time, I'll be glad to entertain those questions or have Mr. Fuller answer those questions for us.
Item 8, presentation of the Texas Title I Priority Schools Grant Tier 3.
Mr. Springton.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, Ms. Monfils, if you'll go ahead and start your presentation.
Mr. President, Mr. Springston, members of the board, it's my intent tonight to give you an overview of the new program that the federal government has set forth. Previously, under No Child Left Behind, the federal government was required to provide aid to schools so that to meet the AYP criteria from the federal government. No longer are the schools that have failed to meet AYP or are on stage 1, 2, or 3 automatically going to be getting money from the federal government. Rather, the new system is that the federal government is giving grants to each of the states for school improvement. The states, of course, have to write their grant to the feds, and of course that has to be approved by the feds, but the states then get to design their state grant in a way that will be most effective with regard to the schools in the particular states. So basically what I'm saying is that this round of funding is very different than we were getting under AYP. More money is going to be available to our state to distribute to the ISDs and all of the campuses. As I said, each state writes its own guidelines for distribution of the funds, and then the funds are required to go to school improvement. Texas is distributing its money based on a tiered system. At the bottom of the screen, you can see Tier 1 eligibility, Tier 2 eligibility, and Tier 3 eligibility. Let me say that Tier 1 and Tier 2 eligible schools are those who have a long history of problems with tax scores, graduation rates, etc. So Tier 1 and Tier 2 grants will be going to schools in Texas that are unacceptable and that have consistently failed to meet state and federal standards. BISD does not, and I repeat, does not have any schools on Tier 1 or Tier 2. So BISD schools are Tier 3 eligible schools. And here's the list of our schools that are eligible to receive these grant awards. You'll notice that all of them, almost all of them, are either recognized or exemplary. If not, then our high schools are, of course, still at the acceptable range. These schools, we are told, we will be getting a full day of training tomorrow, but it's our understanding that these schools made the list for Tier 3 because of the discrepancies in mainly LEP and special ed scores. So our one area that we're still working on, which of course we've been very knowledgeable of and we are working hard at. It's important to note here though that the schools don't automatically just get this money like schools did under AYP. We have to apply. Each school on the list has to write an application grant. Tomorrow, the schools, their writing teams, and the area assistant superintendents in charge of the clusters will all spend all day learning about all the ins and outs of the grants and how to write it, because they're going to be highly competitive. Right now, we're being told that our schools are eligible for any place from $1.2 million, $1.7 million to $2 million. That may change I suppose, depending on the actual awards that TEA gives out. But right now, that's what the first word out is. So it's easy to see that it'll be highly competitive. As I mentioned, our 20 BISD schools are Tier 3 eligible, and Tier 3 is designing a model for transformation, built under the 3 principles of improving student achievement, increasing college and career readiness, building leadership, and improving school climate. These are all things that we're all working on a daily basis in Brownsville ISD. If our schools are fortunate enough to get the money, this money will certainly go a long ways to help these 20 schools to get even further along the path. And the significant components of the grant then are, as I said, it's highly competitive. We have to write a grant that will get us an award. Each school has to write its own application. Each school will be required to do a comprehensive needs assessment that looks at multiple sources of data, not just the tax, the students' emotional, psychological, cultural, family needs. So it's an approach for the well-being of the whole child. And we may include in this grant initiatives that are already operative in the campus and in the district. So we're looking for really great things. These schools are going to be doing a tremendous amount of hard work. Unfortunately, TEA's timeline is such that it's always going to present a challenge. Wouldn't you know it? The deadline to hand this grant in, it must be at TEA on June 3rd, which is our very last day of this school year. So it's a challenge for our principals, but they will have the support of all of the 5 of the area assistant superintendents for the clusters, and of course, Mr. Springston and the entire staff.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone? Questions?
Item 9, discussion and consideration concerning vacant administrative positions, including but not limited to length of time vacant and who or how those jobs and responsibilities are being fulfilled now, the impact on the budget from holding positions open, and any possible benefits from consolidating positions. Board member request.
Ms. Springton.
It's Mrs. Garcia's request.
Mr. Springston, what can you tell me about the positions that are being, that are vacant administratively, and who's doing the job, or have you thought of what we're gonna do? Or do you have a plan in regards to this issue?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Sure do. As of right now, Ms. Momfiles, we've got a lot of people that are doubling up in different areas. Ms. Momfiles is working with curriculum. I got Ms. Ayala working with transportation. Ms. Fox is not only doing her job, but she's also working with food service and health services. Dr. Montoya is working with KBSD. Security services, Mr. Guetta is doubled up and is working with athletics. I'm still working a lot with facilities. We've got a lot of different jobs that we've already started on. We got the administrator for grants, Ms. Moore, is working with that program right now. Administrator for guidance and counseling is open. Ms. Lucy Green, who works with professional development, is overseeing that. Construction project manager is an open position. Mr. Cesar Garza, who did hold that facilities or that position, is now running that. And of course, we're getting ready to start hiring for a principal at Ituria, and also that was Ms. Torres. I have been looking at all the open positions. I have gotten with Ms. Fox. I don't think there's been a week gone by for the last several weeks that we haven't not looked at all the openings. And most of the openings we are looking at, I decided that we would hold back just another week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, because tax testing is coming up, and if we started making a lot of changes during that time period, it does cause a lot of disruption into the system. And since we had already gone this far, if you want to look at salaries or talk about the impact on budget, I can look at all those at midpoint salary points. We're looking at 8 positions over the last year, probably a grand total of close to $1 million that we have not spent in administrative salaries. As of this time period, we have doubled up, and I know that they have worked extremely hard, like I have, with many hours. And so I left out Ms. Pena, who has also been working with special programs. Sorry about that, Ms. Bertha. And so we've all been working extra hours trying to fulfill a mission here at this district that we're going to improve student learning. We're going to improve teacher effectiveness. That was our common goal and our theme that we've been working with, along with our core beliefs and our core commitments. And I'm looking for those people who can match those positions for those core beliefs and those commitments. I looked at several of the positions today just to see where we were. I think most of them are about ready. I think one position that we had almost had 30 applicants. There was a couple positions that I was still a little disappointed in that only had 2 or 3. One had 9 and the other one had 8 positions available. But we are getting ready to start those interviews and interview committees for those positions.
So the salaries would be almost close to $1 million, is that what you're saying?
Administrator for grants, if I was looking at midpoints, we're looking at $84,000. Administrator for guidance and counseling, $84,000. Construction project manager at $84,000. Administrator for budget is $94,000. Certified personnel position is $94,000. Assistant superintendent for curriculum at the midpoint is $107,000. Assistant superintendent for operations is $107,000. And when you take all of those, it's a large sum.
Okay, I have a question for you, Mr. Springston. As a superintendent, you must demonstrate effective planning and management of the district and finances, operations, and personnel and so forth. That is part of the responsibility of a superintendent, correct?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Under one of the local policies. And that's, I think, BGA local. And the reason why I bring this up is because, you know, it boils down to the budget, and I think that if we're doing okay with some of these positions not being filled at least for another fiscal year or for as long as we can hold on to them, you know, it just, I know that 8 positions are a lot, but we need to start really, really focusing on our priorities and our needs. I know that I've been approached by many people as salaries, increases, where are we heading towards? And I'm concerned. I really am concerned. And I know that 8 positions is a lot, but can we look into it a little bit further and see maybe we can do something differently instead of having to say, okay, we got to fill them in and we got to bring in the people? I mean, if we can save some money, I think, I don't know how the rest of my colleagues feel, but I think that the people need to know, you know, what we're having to face. And I'm going to share this with you because I told you that I was up in Edinburgh watching some of our students play in the golf tournament. And I ran into 2 board members. And let me tell you, La Jolla is struggling. They might not be able to open up one of those schools that they built. Financially, they're not going to be able to sustain one of those schools to bring in the staff. They just built those schools. I think La Jolla was like us, building left and right. I talked to one of the board members who was there to also see some of the golfers, and I just wanted to share that with you. That's why I brought up this agenda item, because I wanted to see how we all felt, and I don't know if everybody realized that we had 8 positions vacant, but I'm really going to ask you to really look closely into it and see what you can bring to us and share with us.
Okay.
Please. Yes, you know, that's my concern. And I don't know how the rest of my colleagues feel, but that's the reason why I brought this agenda item.
Thank you. Anyone else? Pat.
Item 10, discussion and consideration concerning the district's pre-K program, including current funding, future funding, cost to the district, and what information about the program is presented to the board. Board member request.
Mr. Sprinton.
Thank you, Mr. President. Again, that's Mrs. Garcias.
On that one, last year we discussed, Mr. Springston, about, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was Mr. Gonzalez, Heriberto Gonzalez, that stood up and gave a presentation about how we were going to fund this pre-K program. And do you recall that?
Beto, yes, sir.
Beto
Okay,
Gonzalez,
yes.
Heriberto Gonzalez, Beto Gonzalez. And, you know, after we're done with that money, have we thought of what we're going to be doing or how we're going to be really keeping up with that pre-K program?
Yes, ma'am.
Because, you know, I would like to know how we're going to do it. I know that that money was being, it was being, implemented into the budget because it was going to be part of the stimulus and so forth. But have we already looked ahead as to, okay, this is being used from this, but where are we going to get the rest for us to continue with that program?
Yes, ma'am. I was looking over some of those presentations, and I do remember it was about a year and a half ago that we were talking about how we were going to open up and fund the full-day pre-K program as a district, because we felt like it would be good for our kids to be in the program all year long. And we were looking at some supplemental funds working with those programs, and we were also talking about when those funds ended that we would be looking for grants and/or they would be absorbed also into our supplemental programs. And I think that was what we discussed. Am I correct, Mr. Fuller?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
So where are we going to get the money from grants?
We would look at grants. There are some grants out there that would help us with the pre-K program that we're looking at presently in case the ARRA stimulus funds do end. He's talking right now that some of those programs will still continue, but they're looking at competitive grants. Our other option, and it was mentioned when we talked about this when he was talking, about us being able to absorb those programs and existing programs that we have now.
So you firmly believe that we would have the money to be able to absorb those programs?
Absorb them, not observe them. Yes, ma'am.
Absorb?
Yes, ma'am.
Correct.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Really, you're a firm believer that we'll be able to do that?
Yes, and I think we've already done the paperwork, or at least the research on that. Am I correct, Ms. Monfils, Mr. Fuller? Yes? Yes.
Because the grants, we can't always depend on the grants.
No, ma'am.
That is not something that we need to bank on and say, we're going to get the grant and we're going to be okay. I don't want for us to be using that type of mentality either.
No, that's supplemental, but those are things that we are looking at so that we don't have to use other absorptions of other funds, that we can also look at as far as funding. Grants are going to become very competitive and highly competitive across districts across the nation now. That's just something that stimulus is going to do, and it's going to be constantly putting out these types of grants. And so the grants position is one that we felt like is very viable and vital to our system as of now, because of the way the president is making everything highly competitive and bringing monies down through the state. And then again, in our state of Texas, we're also having some difficulty because it's not being recognized through the state, through the federal government as well as it should be. And so we're having to go through some different systems in order to apply for a lot of these federal systems and a lot of federal grants.
Okay. Pat?
Item 11, discussion and consideration on all budget amendments, budget changes presented to this current board. Board member request.
Mrs. Springton.
Thank you. Again, this is Mrs. Garcias.
On this one, Mr. Springston, when did we approve a $50 million budget amendment or a budget change? I was told like 2 meetings ago that we had done a budget amendment for $50 million or a budget change. Were you aware of that?
50 million?
That's what I heard in one of the meetings.
Mr. Springston, Mr. Aguilar, the one she's referring to would go back probably 2 to 3 years ago, and it's probably in the area of construction from local maintenance funds.
And those 50 million were to be used for what projects? Can you name me the projects, please?
Specifically, each and every one, I can give you a few of them, probably some re-roofings, HVACs, parking lots, probably Benya Elementary School, probably also included Breeden at that point in time. It could have been also the transportation, satellite, but we combined it into the transportation
Mr.
building.
Fuller, she's requesting most of the things that we spend the money on, that $50 million. Is it possible for you to give us a list?
Yes, sir.
Going back, I know it's impossible right now to remember what happened 3 years ago in all these projects. However, if you can go back and do the research and list them and send them to her in a newsletter or ¿verdad?
Yes, if you could get me those, because you see, not all of us here, but there was a previous board that approved a $50 million project. You just mentioned to me Breeden was part of those 50 million.
I said also, I'm just top of my head, I'm trying to think what would have been included at that point in time. But as Mr. Aguilar's recommended, I can give you the exact list and dollar amounts tied to those projects.
Yeah, I'll need to see that, please, because when you know, I just need to make sure that.
The data is available, and if I would have known that was a question, then I would have had no problem having it.
You know, Mr. Aguilar, we've had extensive training with the CRSS, and many times they have told us time and time again not to be surprising staff and administration with your request on the agenda items. From reading this agenda item that Ms. Presas submitted, I could never in a million years tell that that's what she wanted to know. Also, we had a discussion last meeting that we would be meeting with the superintendent between 3 and 5 on Monday afternoons, which I showed up and I had a conversation with him and Mr. Fuller if we had any questions on any agenda items, and I did. And I don't know if Ms. Presas took advantage of that or she couldn't or whatever, but that would have been a perfect opportunity to go over there and discuss it with them. I mean, this is not a forum to try to make administration look bad or to try to pull any political stunts on the administration or on staff. I think we need to remember we're here to conduct business, to be serious about our business, and to go with the recommendations from the guys that are the best in the best of training school board members, and stick with those rules of not trying to surprise staff and administration. I just think that we all need to be cognizant when we're doing this, because from this, I would have never got that's what she was talking about.
I tend to agree with you, Mr. Sias, and I'm pretty sure we discussed this in a self-evaluation board, and everybody agreed to some standards and process, but it seems like some members tend to forget. So perhaps we need to remind our board members what we agree at the self-evaluation board meeting.
Yes, can I say something else, Mr. Aguilar? I think if our staff is well enough prepared yearly, if I can remember what I discussed a year ago, I think they can remember what they have on their books too as well. Let me tell you, Mr. Aguilar, you have the same rights as I do. So let me finish, please, because this is also a public meeting. It's our meeting, but we need to notify them.
Before you say anything, I'm going to listen to you, and don't jump to conclusions, ma'am.
Let me finish, Mr. President. Let me finish. So if you can, Mr. Fuller, I didn't have the opportunity to meet with you like Mr. Sias did. But if you can, put it in a package, submit it to all of us. Please, submit it to all of us, because anything that I request, I don't mind sharing it with anybody else. It's unfortunate that when other people request something, we don't all get that information either. But I rest my case. Let's move forward to the next agenda. And I'm not here not to conduct business. The business that I conduct is all BISD.
You heard that recommendation, Mr.
Yes, sir, and I will get it to
please
Mr.
follow that
Springsteen
recommendation.
for distribution.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Aguilar, before we go on, I noticed that we discussed that we would meet with the superintendent between 3 and 5 on Monday to discuss any agenda item, but I remember that was like a discussion and somebody was going to get back to us to see if it was a go, so I don't remember getting the go part.
Exactly.
So that's why I didn't come on Monday, because
It was his recommendations, ma'am.
Yeah, but I remember we're going to discuss it. I apologize if we didn't understand it. It wasn't okay
At
to
the
do.
meeting, we said that he suggested that time. That's why we said, well, can you all agree to it? And everybody agree.
Okay.
So it's my understanding, if I tell you the superintendent has agreed to this date, it means that he has agreed and for us to.
Apparently there was the confusion,
Okay,
so
all
that's
right.
why
Thank
I
you,
mentioned
ma'am.
it. So I'm glad it's clarified.
Pat?
B, standing board agenda items, 12 board calendars.
Yes, Mr. Springton.
Thank you, Mr. President. As we are preparing for a big week next week for tax testing, I did cancel tomorrow's principals meeting. Those principals are jumping up and down, thankful right now, because I know that they're preparing hard. This week also we are starting off a series of coffees. First one is going to be the Hanna and Rivera cluster together. We'll do that Thursday. We have the BISD Drumline Festival that's going to begin at 7 o'clock p.m. at Lopez. That will be at 7 p.m. That's also the end of the 6 weeks. We have 5 down and 1 to go. We have our BISD Teacher Job Fair from 8:30 to 11:30 at the Brownsville Event Center. Ms. Fox and her staff will be there, and we have a lot of principals on hand that will be on the 24th. On the 26th, I do want to remind we do start our tax testing, grades 3, 10, and exit level. That will be throughout the week. And as of right now, we still have a 28th policy committee meeting. I need to be meeting with, if there's any agenda items for that policy committee meeting, we need to get with Mr. Cortez. On the 30th, we have an insurance committee meeting that will be at 12 noon, if I'm not mistaken, also in the boardroom. And Mr. Kalunga for those items. And Saturday the 1st, we have our elementary field day at Sam Stadium. And we have National Teachers Day that's coming up. In fact, on the 2nd through the 8th will be the Teacher Appreciation Week, and National Teachers Day is on Tuesday the 4th.
The next item on our agenda is a public comment period. This is a time for citizen, staff, or students to provide their comments to the board. Statements and questions from the audience will not be permitted during other portions of the meeting. So please let us hear from you now if you have comments to present. To have your comments heard tonight, your name and the subject matter of your comments must appear on the sign-in sheet, which is located in the rear of the meeting room. Each speaker will be limited to 5 minutes to complete his or her comments. With all due courtesy, the presiding officer will strictly enforce that time limit. If a group of people want to be heard on the same topic, the board asks that they designate a spokesperson to avoid needless repetition. The board has adopted rules to preclude the abuse of open forum by, for example, anyone uselessly repeating the same comment or complaint meeting after meeting. All participants must understand that if your comment in the judgment of the presiding officer constitutes a complaint against an employee or officer, the presiding officer will interrupt and ask you to stop and direct you to proceed with the BISD's formal grievance procedures, be that DGBA, FNG, or GF Local. With those cautions in mind, we will now be glad to hear the general comments.
Yes. Ms. Longoria. Ms. Lucy Longoria.
Good evening, board members and superintendents. I'm here again with the concern about the budget. Excuse me, I have allergies and I have a sore throat right now too. After hearing Mrs. Presas Garcia's concern at the last budget meeting, many of us share the same concern about this year's budget and budget process. The budget process should start with knowing how the 2009 school year ended because of the deficits that will be carried over to the 2011 school year and future years. So before you approve any of the new year or coming up budgets, you should address these deficits. I went to the BISD website and noticed that the current budget that was approved by these board members, or this board, has a huge budget deficit of close to $12 million. As a matter of fact, the official website has a big red warning covering the $12 million shortfall. It further states that BISD will have to use fund balance to cover the deficit. If you continue to use fund balance to develop this budget and to cover the deficits, this district will be broke very soon. It is my understanding that two major causes of this excessive expense have been due to huge attorney fees for unnecessary lawsuits involving 4 board members, the district suing the Attorney General, and numerous change orders for the new high school. Board members, you need to be more responsible, start being more responsible, and start addressing these deficits before you start making promises you can't keep, and before you approve an unbalanced budget. So before you continue to build more schools, please address the deficits and start putting your personal interests aside and start putting our teachers, our students, and employees first. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Clark.
Good evening, Mr. Aguilar, Mr. Springston, who's just stepped out, I guess, members of the board. My name's John Clark, President, Brownsville Classroom Teachers Association. Thank you for this opportunity to be here tonight. Looks like a good agenda to me tonight. I think we've got some issues on here that are worthy of discussion, and if perhaps some of the wording was not as precise as it should be, we could probably work around that. I can see on here that we've got discussion of the pre-K issue, which I've been told is $8 million of permanent funding that we're paying for with temporary funds. And that's a concern as we go into a difficult budget situation in the years to come. I can see some positive work on taking a look at the administrative positions that they could possibly be consolidated. And I can see that Breeden is up further in the evening on the agenda as we look at construction, and not just what it's going to cost us now, but what it's going to cost us every year in the future. That is a real concern for this district and really all the districts in the state as we come up on very unpredictable economic times. We don't know how much money is coming in, and yet we seem to be willing to commit ourselves to year after year expenses. It's risky. And so there should be some good discussion on that coming up. You know, Ms. Longoria brought up the budget, and I've been involved with this budget as a association representative, and I know there are very good people in this district who are working very hard, and I respect them. But I feel that we are running very, very late with this budget. It was less than 2 months until we have to approve it, and it has not been presented to the board. There was a budget committee meeting last week, and the budget was not presented. I look on websites of other districts around this state, and I read education news every day. Other districts have been working on this for a year. A year! And we've got less than 2 months, and we don't have a budget. So I'm concerned, and I want to bring that up to the community. I know that this broadcast or cablecast is watched by the community, and I feel that this issue of our budget is not well known in the community. And it needs to be, because it concerns us all. We're all connected with the children in this community who are the future of this community, and we need a financially healthy school district to do our best job educating these kids. The whole community is involved in this, and yet this issue has not received the attention it deserves. It requires, that's the word. That's the budget. Seems to be a development coming up in the district that I'm very concerned about, and I'm going to speak about this now. And that is a development or a movement or proposals that will limit limit discussion by our publicly elected representatives. What I'm talking about is what looks to be a proposal that will make it harder for board members to put agenda items on the agenda for meetings such as this. I find this very disturbing. I guess it's because I'm an American who believes in democracy, and that I know that the members of this board are elected representatives representing this community who want to speak for this community and who will be silenced if they're not allowed to bring items up to this agenda. There's a wide, as I stand here and look at you guys, it's curved, it's horizontal, it's a wide panoramic array of representatives. It's wide to represent the whole community. That's the plan. The whole community needs to be represented here. That's the thing about public education. It's available for every student. It's the whole community. And it goes across generations and across all families if they want it. And we need all of our representatives to be able to participate in the board meetings. by putting agenda items on there. That's a serious concern that goes to the heart of our democracy. We need to preserve the ability of our representatives to represent our people. Another disturbing...
Mr. Clark, 1 minute, please.
Thank you very much. Another disturbing development seems to be the limit the ability of the auditor to do that person's job. An auditor, for those who don't know, is a person who looks at financial records and catches theft, if it's there. That auditor also can make recommendations on financial efficiency. This is a wonderful function, and this person needs to be able to do their job. It's a safeguard for the financial health of institutions. We are moving into a time of financial danger. We need to be working in a way with the community and towards financial health, and we need to use our tools to do that. Let's not shut down those tools. Let's strengthen them so that we can move ahead successfully.
Thank you, Mr. Clark.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
George Borrego, Mr. George Borrego.
Good evening, board members. I have just come from our annual meeting in San Marcos for the Texas State Teachers Association. And there are a lot of districts that are in trouble. Lubbock is closing schools, high schools. La Jolla has a few problems. I believe McAllen had to lay people off. But this school district, with the predecessors that we had, have maintained the financial stability of this district. I represent 3,800 school district employees, and we are not worried about our financial stability in this district. I'm worried about the fact that because of economic circumstances and situations that are beyond our control, that we may not get a raise for our employees. I'm worried about that. But most of my employees my members are resigned to the fact that we're happy that none of our fellow people are being laid off. This district is in good shape. Our fund balance, every time we get audited, we get written up because we have too much money in fund balance. We're supposed to be a poor district. I don't see any reckless spending. And there are certain protocols that my association has adopted when we have problems with our executive board. And we follow that protocol because we need to present to our community, the people that elected us, a united front, a positive front. When I have a problem on my board, we hash it out within ourselves until we figure it out. Then if we're not satisfied, then perhaps we go to the next level. But usually we solve it. We need to work together, not fight against each other. They did not elect you all, they did not elect me to be fighting with our members or with our fellow board members. They elected us to do a job. And we need to do that job cohesively, together, as one unit. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Borrego. Patrick Hams.
Board President Aguilar, it's Mr. Hammes. Superintendent Springston, members of the board, my name is Patrick Hammes. Tonight I'm here with a couple different hats on. First of all, before I forget, which is I more want to do nowadays, Ms. Monfiles, there was no middle schools on that list for Tier 3. That was very surprising to me that we had no middle schools on there. I want to put on my hat first as the chairperson of the Employee Benefit Committee for a quick update. We've had one meeting. We had it early in March. We have a meeting coming up in early May, tentatively May the 3rd. The only reason it's not definite is that I have been remiss in sending in a notice to Mr. Whittemore and his staff with the agenda. Our elected secretary, Alma Ortiz from Hannah, just lost her mother last week, so take that into your thoughts and prayers, please. So we're running just a tad, a couple days late on getting the agenda. On this meeting, we're looking at having an insurance training with Mr. Looney from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock. We're going to invite all the board members to attend. We're also, I don't know what the status is on your ad hoc committee that you were talking about. If you have members on the ad hoc committee and they would like to attend, they're more than welcome at that same meeting. We enjoy learning together when it comes to insurance and the benefits for the school district. I do notice real quick that on your April the 30th meeting, that is on during tax week, it'll be difficult for us to have a representative at your meeting at that time, but we'll do our best to see what we can do to have somebody at the board insurance committee meeting to represent us. Real quick, and I am, I'm not going to say I'm clueless, but I'm not very knowledgeable on all the issues on bond funds, on things on that. But I believe under Superintendent Zolkowski on the new high school, that the way the financing was done is that we're basically paying a quarter on the dollar. And then we basically have a $64 million high school for roughly $16 million. So if there's some cost overruns there, and I don't know how much y'all are talking, I'm so sure it's under the full bill of the $64 million that would have cost us if we had to pay for the full thing without the assistance of the state. And for all of you that helped us to accrue those funds, we thank you. Other than that, I just endorse what George said, and we look forward to working with all board members. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Pat?
Item 14, recommend approval from Emily Louise Morales, student, and Dora Lopez, teacher, sponsored to travel to San Jose, California to participate in the Intel International Science and Engineering Fair between May 9th, 15th, 2010.
Ms. Peña.
Yes, Mr. Springsteen, Mr. Aguilar. What school is this?
Pace High School, ma'am.
Was there the same school that we had a little incident before?
Yes, ma'am.
Same supervisors?
No, ma'am.
Different supervisors? That's all I want to know. Thank you.
Am I correct there, Mr. Reguera?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
I thought.
Move to
I
approve.
move to approve.
You move it. Do I have a
Second.
second?
Either one.
Oh.
Aye.
All right. All those in favor say
Move
aye.
second.
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? 15th.
Item 15, recommend to renew the contract for the collection of delinquent ad valorem taxes to E. Peña and Associates, P.C. for a term of 1 year, effective July 1, 2010 to June 30, 2011.
Ms. Peña.
Yes, sir. Mr. Springsteen, Mr. Aguilar. I notice here on page 87 that, and in our follow-ups here, that you're asking for a 1 year renewal, but it says on here the district has an option to renew the contract for up to 2 years. Could we do something and just do 2 years and just not worry about it for 2 years instead of doing this every year? Is that a possibility?
Mr. Saldana?
You can approve all contracts that are for a definitive period can be approved for 1 year. You can place in there an option to approve for an additional year or an additional 2 years. It's up to the board as to how they want to handle it.
It can be done.
It can be done, but you know, it's an issue of whether you go out or not, or if you issue another year. That means, as far as budget is concerned, it has to be brought in terms of an approval. But you can extend a contract. In this case, like this would be the last option year. You can extend to have another option year in order for it to come. But normally it would come in 1 year increments to the board.
Because I notice it says here the district has the option to renew the contract for up to 2 years.
Right.
So, we could renew the contract for up to 2 years.
Yes, but that's the contract that was, I believe, in effect in 2007 that you're reading.
So, oh, it's in the background.
I think what
Mrs. Peña is
Hold on,
trying to...
Guys, 2 or 3 people talking at the same time. Dr. Scoville?
I'm just trying to clarify what I think Mrs. Peña is asking. In other words, we can make a motion to renew for 1 year, or we can make a motion to renew it for 2 years, and that's what it would take, correct?
Basically, yes, sir.
Mr. Saez.
Does that answer your question?
Thank you, Mr. Dr. Escobedo.
Mr. Saez.
Good, well,
Okay, go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to take the option to, I'm sorry, go ahead. I apologize. Well,
Yeah.
First of all, what exactly have we collected? Why isn't there any backup or any presentation from the law firm to begin with? All we got was the contracts, so.
Presentation was done last week.
Yeah, but the presentation was to sell certain properties. That was the presentation, and a pie. What exactly in the figures, dollar figures, have we collected?
Mr. Fuller?
Springston, Mr. Aguilar. Yes, that was presented along with the sale of foreclosed properties. The breakdown of how the firm was on February 28th. At that point in time, he'd had approximately collected about $3.1 million, or he as the firm.
How much are we under?
The total tax receivable as of that date was 11.6 million.
And how much are we under that has not been collected?
Well,
I'm sure that there's something that has not been collected. What's that figure?
the ones that are, we have some that are in bankruptcy or deferrals, and we have some that are in litigation, and then we have some, the balance is approximately 4.1 million.
I think what she'd like to know is, percentage-wise, what's our collection rate percentage-wise? I think is what the question is.
Correct. At the February 28th was 26.25%.
And how does that compare with what our expectations?
Last year, it's just a little above last year.
A little. A little is how? 1 point, 2 points, 3 points?
Last year was 25.9.
And right now, we're at 26.25.
Correct.
Okay, and right here also, so let's say that within a year, because right here, the terms, it says that the term is of this contract shall be for 1 year. Let's say that either the district or the collection firm may cancel at this contract at any time for any reason provided. Is there a penalty? Are we going to get penalized for that? Let's say that a year from now, and we give them a 2-year contract like you're saying that you want to give them. But at that time, we're still at a set at 25, 26, you know, because other people are collecting.
Like,
if I understand a penalty like that would be owed to the law firm, is that your question?
No, to us,
For
or
breach of
for us to
contract.
them.
Is there a breach of
For
contract?
breach of contract.
No, this is professional services. You can terminate professional services at any time.
So we would be able to review this within 6, 7, 10 months?
Yes, you could. You have the right under professional services.
Yeah, that's my question, is that if you're going to give them another 2 years or another year.
If you're not happy, you know, and.
The question is, can we go back, review, ask them, bring us the numbers? We want to see the dollar sign. We want to know where we're at and if we're doing
Yes.
okay.
yes.
Yes.
The answer is yes to all your questions, yes.
Mr. Aguilar, if I
The only
may,
thing is the 30-day notice, ma'am.
30 days, yes. Like any other profession, it's 30 days. Ms. Peña?
the collection is 26.25 as of
February the 28th.
February. So that means that there's still time for that figure to go up compared to last year's?
Well,
Yes, ma'am.
last year there were 25. They only went up
Okay.
1 point.
They went up 1 point.
They only went up 1 point.
Okay, well, with the times that we're in, I'm excited that they went up. Anybody?
So,
The only thing that I would like to do, Mr. Aguilar, is move that we renew, take the option to renew up to 2 years. That way, we don't have to keep bringing this up, hashing it out, and having people pretty much, for a lack of a better word, hound us.
Mike,
This
what she's
contract.
doing is she wants to amend this.
She has the right to amend it. If anybody wants to second it, they are welcome to second.
Okay, would you state that? Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion that the district take the option, like I have on my backup, to renew the contract up to 2 years.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Being moved and second, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed?
For the record, I will abstain because I don't have the actual figures, and just for the record, because I'm not comfortable with the
Okay.
backup that I have.
I'd just like to clarify, your motion was to award a 2-year contract, correct?
To take the
With the option to renew 2 years after the 2 years are over, is that correct?
I'm not mistaken, the renewal is only for that one
1
time.
year with an option to renew for 2 years.
But, right.
So we're awarding the contract for 2 years with an option to renew for 1 year after the second year.
No, 1 year with an option to renew for 2 additional years.
So,
Basically, like the first contract was, we're doing that now.
Okay, maybe I'm a little slow today, but we're the contract,
Yeah,
what was your motion?
my motion is that, that to take the option now to renew for 2 years.
Okay, but we're awarding the contract for 2 years.
Right. And then after that, you have to go out. You can't award it anymore. Am I correct, Mr. Saldaña?
No, the way I understood it is that you were going to basically add an extension, in other words, an ability after this award to renew, to take the option to renew for 2 additional years, a year at a time.
So then, I'm asking this because I know the city issues it for 3 years. Other entities issue it for 2 years. And we keep doing year. So how is it that we can do that?
The reason that we do that, ma'am, is first of all, because there are certain laws that apply to us that don't necessarily apply to municipality that require us to only expend or only be able to budget for 1 year, commit funds for 1 year. That doesn't necessarily mean you need to go out every year.
Okay.
But so long as you have a termination clause in the contract, and I believe that's under the G policies, the legal policies, that you can terminate the contract at any time because of whatever issues that you have, and it's a reasonable termination period. In this case, 30 days is, in my opinion, reasonable, that you can award it for any combination of years that you would like. But it does come up every year.
Doctor?
So then we're doing, in essence, just the 1 year, not the 2 year?
With an option to renew for 2 years. I mean, if you want to do the 2 years, you can do the 2 years.
I think that's what her motion was.
Okay.
So
You can do it for 2 years with an option to renew.
Just for clarification, Mike, read the motion, please, Pat.
This? As is?
As it is in the agenda?
No, as she.
The motion, what did we just approve?
That's what we're trying to capture right now.
What will the
Mr.
minutes
Aguilar.
reflect?
I was making a motion to make it a 2-year contract, effective July 2009 to June 2011.
Okay, with an option to renew.
With an option to renew
For 1 year.
for 1 year.
Okay, we can do that.
Okay. That's your motion.
That's my motion.
I'll second that.
In second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Mr. Aguilar, can I have Pat read the motion again? No, I'm serious.
The motion is to award the contract for 2 years with an option to renew for 1 year.
Thank you.
My question remains exactly the same. The option to renew for 1 year would be at the end of 2 years, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. That's what I want to hear since my first time I asked.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay.
Item 16, recommend approval to authorize administration to accept the Veterans Memorial High School Old Carmen Street Avenue Improvements Project as substantially complete.
I think it was Ms. Peña.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Is this asking just to take the street part, or is this the school? Because there's no commas in there, so I'm just like thinking. The Old Carmen Street Avenue Improvement Project, so this is just the street?
Yes, ma'am.
Has nothing to do with the taking over the school, accepting the school. Okay, that's all I want to know. I move to approve.
Second.
Been moved and second. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Pat?
Item 17, recommend approval for Brownsville Public Utilities Board to obtain ownership of on-site water lines, meters, and facilities located at Veterans Memorial High School and to grant utility and access easement.
Ms. Garcia?
On this one, I just want confirmation and to have administration, see if administration knows the answer, if not, maybe council. When we bring in our lines and we pay for the line, for the utility services, are we gonna lose from people, the developers having to come and tap into the lines, or are we gonna get our monies back?
We get our monies back, ma'am.
So this is not gonna affect that agreement,
No, ma'am.
and that's for sure.
That's for sure.
So every developer, everybody that taps into our lines, we're gonna get our money back.
Get a portion. I think we did that, I can't remember that contract. Do you remember, Mr. Saldana, that we did? I think it was,
No, sir, I don't. I think we've done some lift stations, some sewer lift stations, but facilities would probably know better than I.
Cesar, do you have, I can't remember exactly when we did those meetings. I can't remember if it was the lift station or if it was the water rights. Maybe correct me if I'm wrong there.
Mr. Aguilar, board members, Mr. Springston, with sewer that we did with Valley Mud, there is some reimbursement agreement on that project. On this one with PUB, we just paid for the line to be extended out there, but there's no reimbursement agreement.
Okay, so that was, the Valley Mud was for the sewage?
Right.
Okay.
That's the one that has the reimbursement agreement.
Mr. Aguilar? Okay, here's my question. So they want to take ownership of the water lines, the meters, the facilities. Who actually put those physical items in? Did BISD take the expense of putting those installing those items?
Yes.
So now we're just going to hand them over to them?
Basically, we paid the contractor to install all this equipment.
So we want to give it to them at no cost to them, and we lose out on what we paid to put it in?
Well, not exactly, because all the maintenance that will be done, they'll take care of all the maintenance on the fire hydrants, everything that's on our fire loop, coming into the high school, up to the meters. Beyond the meters, as we go into the school, we're still responsible for that. But everything outside, on the fire loop and the main line coming in, they're responsible for that. And we pretty much do that with all our constructions that are of that size, where we have a big loop. So the maintenance in the future becomes a PUB.
So then if that lines would have been put in by PUB, they would have charged us to put them in. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Correct. We would have paid either the contractor or PUB.
Or PUB?
Right, like, I'll give you an example, like in our smaller schools, our elementaries, we just cross the street, or if it's on our side of the street, they connect, and they charge us, tapping fees, the water meters, and we pay PUB for that. In this case, the contractor did all the loop around the high school, the fire loops, all the fire hydrants. We give them to PUB, and they maintain it for the rest of the.
Mr. Springston and Mr. Aguilar.
Garcia.
I remember like about 8 months ago, before Mr. Tapia left, he stood up in that, right behind that microphone, and he stated, and it was very clear, and I'm going to look for the minutes, because I don't think that was the agreement. The agreement was that whoever would tap into our lines, I don't know who else remembers, and this is not a surprise, so please don't even say that I'm surprising anybody, because we were all here, and I questioned that question as to if anybody that would tap into our lines, would we get reimbursed, and it was very clearly stated that they would. Now, if this contract has changed, I'm sorry. I think we need to look into a little further unless we have all the backup from the prior agreement, if there was an agreement at all. I just feel very uncomfortable because we were told already that it was going to happen.
When any developer develops and they put in water lines as long as we did, I know for a fact PUB has a reimbursement contract that they do with the developers, and I don't see why us as the school district should be treated any different.
I got PUB here. They can talk to us.
This is Ms. Ana Lozano, and hopefully she can enlighten us a little bit more on the contract.
Let me see. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Superintendent, members of the board. You're right, we do have a reimbursement agreement. And we actually responded to an RFP that BISD set out for water service. And so we responded and we gave BISD two options. We said you can apply for a reimbursement agreement, but we will go out for bids. And whatever the lowest bid is, that's what we'll use, and then we'll put you on a reimbursement agreement. Or you can contract with BISD. This is our price. This is a firm price. Whether we go over, and the price in the RFP, I believe, was $285,000. If we go over, we eat it. It's $285 for BISD. If we go under, we give you the difference. But there is no reimbursement agreement. It's stated in the RFP, and we actually referred to it in this agreement. So in this case, BISD opted not to pursue a reimbursement agreement.
That's not what we were told.
That's not what we were,
That's not what we were told.
We opted not to do a reimbursement agreement. Well, it didn't really make very much sense what you said. If you can just clarify it, I'm not saying that.
There were, like I said, there are two options, and I will try really hard, but it's $285,000, which was our price. You can go out for bids. We could have gone out for bids, and we could have said, these are the lowest bids BISD pick. It could be $500,000. It could be $1 million. BISD, you pick the lowest bid, and then with that price, we will go out and we'll put it on a reimbursement agreement. Or we can do it. You can contract with PUB. This is our price. It was the lowest price that you had seen. It was lower than Valley Mud, and so BISD said, well, we want to go with the 285. Don't put us on a reimbursement agreement. And it's stated in the RFP. And so this is what this agreement references, is the RFP.
So we did go out for bids, or we did not?
We did. BISD chose not to. They chose to pay PUB our price. And so PUB did the work in-house.
Oh, I
And,
see.
yeah, and in the RFP, we actually put the reimbursement agreement policy in there. We have it, it's available to anybody if you choose to go out for bids. And at that time, BISD said, no, we want to pay PUB, we want you to take care of it, this is the price. 285 is a price we cannot go over.
And how does that benefit the school district? Like, if we had gone out for bids, what would have been the difference, or what?
You may have paid more. You may have paid a lot more. I don't know what those bids would have looked like. Do you remember what it was for Valley Mud? It was over $1 million.
The proposal with Valley Mud, actually, we had to install a tank, 750,000 gallon tank to comply with the fire marshals, and that price was close to $1 million.
I remember that. So instead of paying the $1 million, we paid the 285 at their price.
That's correct.
And how long did we run the water line? This is only for water or for sewage?
No, this is only for water. With PUB, we contracted for water, and I think it was just a little bit over a mile and a half, I think. Yeah, a water line. It's a 16-inch water line that PUB ran from Alton Glore up to the corner of Alton Glore and Military Highway, and then all the way into right at the edge of our property. We had already built the fire loops and all the domestic water lines with the contractor.
Now, how about with relation to the sewer lines? Because those are a lot more expensive.
The sewer line, there's no sewer right now with PUB at that location. So there we did go, the only option we had was to go with Valley Mud. And we built a lift station on the corner of our property on the northwest side, which we've already come to the board with the same substantial completion that we had like with Old Carmen just before this item. And Valley Mud has taken over the operation of that lift station, which actually pumps 2 miles to the birding center, and they pump all the way to Rancho Viejo.
But if a developer comes around and taps into that, we get reimbursement?
And that one we did because we actually built it. Valley Mud did not build it. We went out for bids, got a contractor to do it, and we did it.
That's right. Okay.
Mr. Aguilar, one question. I know that we went with PUB, Ms. Ana and Mr. Cesar, instead of going out for bids. So does that mean if we would have gone out for bids, PUB would have had a bigger bid? Is that what we're saying? Is that why we decided to go that route and not go out for bids? Would you not have been part of the bidding process?
Right, we would not. We are not considered contractors. We would not have bid.
Okay, they would have left you out automatically then?
Right.
Okay, thank
They
you for
would
the
be private
explanation.
contractors.
Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
It's been moved to approve. Do I have a second?
Mr.
What?
Cortez, just a second.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, sir. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed say nay. Okay.
17.
Pat?
Discussion, consideration, and possible action on construction and staffing costs for Breeden Elementary. Board member request.
Ms. Peña. Excuse me. Yes, Minerva Peña.
We had I had my information answered and questions, so I'd like to withdraw it, so we're done with that.
That's right. Okay. There's no action required. Okay. Pat, next.
Closed meeting is pursuant to the Texas Government Code, Section 551071, 551072, 551074, 551082, and 551084.
No, can I make a statement for the
Mr. Saez?
Thank you. No, I just wanted to make a statement with regards to item number 32 that was requested. 32B in particular kind of puts us between a rock and a hard place, or a catch-22 situation, because if we discuss it out in the open, it may subject us to litigation some more, because allegations may be made against one of these specific vendors that are not true and could lead the public wrong, and I really want to avoid litigation. Or if we go in there and discuss it, these vendors specifically could say, wait, those action items should have been talked in open session. They don't meet any of the what's it called? Of the Open Meetings Act considerations where you can go in there and talk. So then they would have a litigation suit against us for a violation of the Texas Open Meetings Act. So we're kind of in a catch-22 situation on that one. And I don't know, with regards to that, if we have a board member that has some information, I think we should run that to our auditor or through the superintendent or through whoever is necessary with the school district, and go through the proper channels so that those questions could be answered beforehand. And then if there's issues there that we need to address, then we can bring them up for the public with the whole story, both sides. Or if it's a litigation matter or something that could be potential litigation matter, that we discuss it in closed session. That way we don't have an Open Meetings Act violation.
Mr. Aguilar and Mr. Springsteen, you know, funny, I got a phone call and I was told that this was going to happen. But for the record, I called Ron Rao, and obviously you guys don't believe when I call, but I asked if I had the right to question certain things, and you are aware, Mr. Springsteen, that I've already requested some backup information for some of these vendors. You yourself, Mr. Sayas, you've questioned one of the vendors. So I figured that we would discuss it with the auditor. Nothing that would jeopardize us, nothing in detail that would put us in a situation of a legal lawsuit. It's just I have a couple of questions, that's all. That's all. If one of them is on the buy board, then I want to know if it's on the buy board. If there's a couple of other issues that I have, it's not going to jeopardize us at all. But for the record, if you guys do not want to discuss it, just say it. I know I don't have the votes anyway.
I think if there's not going to be any allegations against any of these vendors, it should be talked about in open session.
Well, we can.
I don't see why we're talking about it in closed session. I mean,
that was.
If it's not a exception under
the term violation is what gives me some concern. All right, and your analysis is correct, Mr. Sayas. Perhaps with she is correct. She has a right to discuss at any time. However, this is more for the board as to how they want to handle it in terms of policy. I mean, internal board operating procedures. In terms of getting more information on the situation, that's totally up to you all as to how you all want to handle it. If you feel that you want to, look at these things more aggressively at a future meeting and instruct internal audit and the superintendent to look at it so that you can more constructively address these things, it can be tabled or it can be taken up. However, if it's taken up in open session, then it's going to have to be in general terms as far as what the procedures are, and with very general questions such as the type that Ms. Garcia has indicated right now.
Cortez.
My only comment to that is, if it's general questions that she wants to ask, the way that I read this, it says violation of procurement bidding process. So that's almost saying that's almost an accusation that all those companies, there's some type of violation or problem. I don't see how we can be general or vague if the allegation is that there's something that went on that shouldn't have gone on. And so how do we get around
You know what, Mr.
on that issue?
Well, let him finish.
Mr. Aguilar?
I mean, I don't know if that's just a technical thing, maybe it was not the
Maybe-
right word that was intended to be used, but that speaks about violation of procurement bidding process, and then it names out those companies. So it's almost calling out an
I
allegation
mean, if she wanted to,
wrongdoing.
change it or something, say discussion concerning possible violations, might have been a more accurate way of.
And let me share this with you. When I was there, I told council and I told Mr. Aguilar, Mr. Springsteen, remove violation, and they left it on there.
That's
And that's
correct.
fine.
That's correct. She
And
did
I
say
did
that.
state that.
She did.
And we could have removed this, but you know what? Because the question was just procurement process. That was the whole entire question. Right now, it seems like everybody's walking on eggshells and everybody's afraid. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I just want to put clarification on questions that I have. Now, if that's the
Discuss it here
case,
then.
you know, we can discuss it here. If you guys feel uncomfortable, then you know what? I'll wait for the backup information that I've requested from Mr. Springsteen on an email, and we can do it that way. I have no problem. I mean, if you want to, we'll table the item until we get the backup from Mr. Springsteen, then we can take it another route.
Seems like got two groups here. One want to do one thing, the other thing. Why don't we?
I think we're making the same argument.
Yes, I
mean,
think.
Yeah, you are.
what she just said.
Okay, Mr.
Yeah, you are.
That's fine.
It's up to the board. The floor is open.
I'd like
I
to
would
motion
I
to-
would like to do what Kata said. I'd
like to motion that we table this item till we get the backup.
Be moved to table this section till
I
all
request
the
it.
information is given to the administration. Do I have a second?
What? You don't want to do it now?
We won't do, I had already requested backup information on some.
She's okay
some
with tabling
questions
it.
that I had, and that
Okay,
was
well,
it.
'cause
Are you okay with
It's
tabling
just a
it?
question
I'm
of the
okay, we
word
can table.
violation.
No, I
Do it
mean,
now,
but
you
no,
know.
but let me tell you, Mr. Cortez, I don't think you understood. We had already discussed to remove violation because I just had the procurement process.
And that's what I'm saying, is that's the
what it
only
was.
thing, then we can move
We can
to
table
remove
it
that word from the
and
agenda as it's
bring it-
read, and then discuss it right now in open session.
We can do that,
Mr.
or
Aguilar?
table
the
it because of the backup is pending.
The discussion needs some backup and then,
There's a motion and a second to table on the floor right now that wants to be removed or however y'all want to do it.
Okay.
There's a motion to remove, to table, excuse me.
Table it, sir.
Table.
Do I have, all in favor say aye?
Aye.
Those opposed? Mr. Cortez, okay. All right, so that takes care of that one then. Then we can go back to,
okay, thank you.
No, I know that, I know.
number 29, Pat?
28, sir?
Excuse me.
29.
29.
28?
28 wasn't, sir.
29.
It was, sir.
Okay, I move to approve 28.
Thank
All right.
I'll second the motion.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
I move to approve 29 and 30.
Together.
I'll second.
Being approved, and, I mean, motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Number 31.
That was pulled, no discussion, no action.
No action, no discussion or anything on number 31 at all.
All right.
That was pulled.
Okay, number 32A.
Status of Valley Baptist Health Systems Claims Health Smart CTI Audit.
I recommend to authorize the superintendent to direct the CTI audit of HealthSmart at his discretion to those areas he deems the most important to resolve the pending issues.
I'll second.
Being second, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Mr. Springton, please.
I believe Ms. Pena asked me that she could make a couple of announcements, important ones.
Yes, I just want to let everyone know that we're very proud of our schools. Vela Middle School took first place in the nation at the chess tournament. And yesterday, the Hannah chess team arrived at the Brownsville airport. Thank you, Mr. Springsteen, for setting up all the greet. We had the TV station there and a lot of parents with banners. In fact, we greeted everyone off the airplane that they were surprised to come to Brownsville. So we said, welcome to Brownsville. And when our team got out, we cheered for them. The Hannah team came in 9th in the nations, and the Hannah girls chess team took first place in the nation. So we have the best chess players when it comes to girls. So girl power, way to go, girls. And they sit in BISD. And I'm very proud of the middle school and the high schools because they both brought back the national championship. And in May, the elementaries school will be traveling, and we are raising money for Martin Elementary. So anyone that can hear me out there, please feel free to send money in to send those teams out there. And we're looking for a national title with elementary, and I'm very proud of them. So thank you for all the support you've given to these children in this chess tournaments.
Sir.
Yeah, now that we're making announcements, I just want to also add that it is Administrative Assistance Week, and I'd just like to recognize our school board secretary, Ms. Pat Pettis, for all her hard efforts and hard work.
Did he bring you the flowers, Pat?
They're in my office, sir.
I didn't see those flowers.
You didn't see those, sir?
No. Dile que mañana. Tomorrow. I'll put them on the hot iron. I have a motion? No, hold on. You're next, Mr.
Announcements.
Just to thank Ms. Brown and her staff, all the hard work that we did this past weekend with all the administrators and administrative staff, superintendent staff, raised over $108,000 for the Superintendent Scholarship Fund. That's going to put a lot of scholarships out to our kids from all 5 high schools. Thank you. And thank you very much for your hard work and dedication.
That was a successful tournament, a big show, and I think you have a direct line with God or something, because as soon as the tournament ended, everybody's inside eating. It started pouring hard, and before that, there was no wind. It was
No
cool.
rain.
It was a perfect golf day, and I really think that
Divine intervention.
divine intervention. You called in a favor somewhere along the way.
And I want to note also, Mr. Springsteen, that right after the luncheon was over and everyone got their door prize and were ready to go to their cars, the good Lord stopped the rain again.
That's right.
And everybody got in their cars and it started again. So yes, sir, we are in his favor. So thank God for that.
Not only did Mr. Sayas play in the tournament, but also he was a very lucky person. He gave tickets to other board members, and they were winners. And right before he left, he said, Aguilar, this is a winner. You will be the winner next. And by golly, as soon as he left, they called that number. So now
I don't know if I would call that divine intervention.
Well, now I call it Mr. The Prophet.
Yes, it was a wonderful event. And yes, all of your tickets were winning numbers. So thank you for giving them to us.
And yes, and we could have another winner if you had not been talking to other members in the audience, and because I couldn't get up.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, sir, but your third number, they kept calling it out, and because we were sitting there discussing. Okay, so
Minerva.
well, we gave opportunity for somebody else. Somebody else won the prize, so we won all 3 prizes. But the third one, we didn't hear
I
the
had
number.
3 winning tickets I gave away.
3 winning tickets he gave away.
I told you that other one was the winner. Though. I said,
I know.
You're going to win with this one. No
Yes,
doubt
he did.
So yes,
Do I have a
it was
motion?
divine intervention all day long. So
Yeah.
thank God for that.
Do I have a motion?
Move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn, second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Good night, Brownsville.
Good night,
Congratulations, Pat.